All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. All right, so what do we got today? Today is February 6th, 2026. Welcome. All right, just a little side note before we jump into stocks. If you were day trading, we actively day trade the NASDAQ every day. It's been a tough couple of days here in the NASDAQ, a lot of volatility. Word of warning to day traders, cut your trade size. And if you're new at this, you may even want to take a couple of weeks off until this volatility goes down a little bit. We may have it for another month or so. There's a lot of things going on economically and so forth that is causing issues with the volatility. But lower that trade size. All right, you'll learn a lot, but it is a tough market. A lot of times on the open, we get manipulation, distribution. It's been more seek and destroy. So be careful out there. All right. Now, with that said, Ed, I see you're here. Okay. Gene sent me a list over for you today. So I have those, and I think those are the ones you're typing in now. So good. Glad you could make it. All right. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask them during the session. Also, too, don't forget, we're looking up stocks and ETFs. So we don't do cryptos. We don't do currencies of any type here, okay? It's just purely stocks and ETFs, so keep that in mind as well, okay? All right, so let me just go through the administrational items here real quick, and we'll get that done, all right? So the first thing I want to go over, of course, are the risks involved in trading. This is something you need to kind of be aware of when you're trading, whether trading or investing for that matter. Always use risk control, okay, whenever you trade. Know how to do that, know how to calculate your trade size, which is your bet size, whether you're trading futures and contracts, options, or shares and stocks and ETFs. You have to understand the risk behind each particular trade or investment. Know where to get out, know where your target is, and that's important. Also, to realize that past performance doesn't guarantee future performance. And that was certainly evident in many cases. There are many cycles in the market. And if you look at, go back to the dot-com era, people were buying tech stocks at the top because the performance for the previous 5 years were so good. And then, of course, look what happened. The market sold off, halved itself, and a lot of people got themselves in trouble. So you always have to be aware of that. And then finally, we're going to talk about a lot of opportunities here. We're going to look at stocks you're interested in. But, I can't guarantee anything. All right. I use my experience. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I use certain tools and technical analysis, but you need to do your own research and definitely talk with your financial advisor or whoever manages your money to be sure any of the picks we have here are suitable for you. Okay, so that's super important. All right, and I've got a lot of books out there published by both Wiley. I've got some published by Wiley Trading, that is, McGraw-Hill, and etc. So my newest book is the second edition of The Art of Trading. Great place to start. We pretty much cover everything in that book, so I would recommend that as well. And we'll put some links up in the recording. Now, just so you know, I did put a link up earlier for our free email list. You probably want to get on that because we'll send you emails from time to time on certain things. And we actually have a lot of free material too. So you definitely join our Discord channel. I'll put that up there as well. Okay, so get that down. Antonio, I see you're here. I just made an announcement maybe before you got here. We only look up ETFs and stocks here. All right. So we don't look up currencies. We don't look up cryptos or anything of that nature. So it's only ETFs and stocks. All right. So, So that is the book situation. And again, we'll put more links up in the recording. You can always come back. This is our software. We'll put links up to our software too. We use the applied reality trading software along with OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERI. Okay. So, there you have it. We also have scanners and risk control software as well. So that is available on our website. All right, take a moment right now. Give us a like because that helps our channel. All right, so definitely help us out there. And also too, MOR report. Listen, a lot of people ask me during this presentation, can I look up, certain market forecasting events like in the NASDAQ and so forth. I don't do that here. This is a area just basically where I look up stuff you're interested in, or I share some opportunities that I see in the markets for you. So it's pretty much stock and ETF specific. But if you're interested in actual market forecast, check out our MOR report. Let me just show you. I'll give you a little, see if I got it here. Let me just see if I have anything here that I think would show you a little bit about what the MOR report is. So this is what I do every Sunday in addition to an actual video. And you can see it's pretty comprehensive. I go through a lot of stuff. It takes me a while on the weekend to put it together, but I love doing it because it prepares me for the market ahead as well as you. But I give you a pretty detailed analysis on all the major indexes, as you can see in this report. And we cover real estate too, mortgage rates, analyst upgrades and downgrades. And then we have our stock opportunities here, very detailed. So you may want to check that out. All right. And we also do Saturday trading education workshops as well. So you can look at that as well. I'm going to put a link real quickly up for the MOR report. Always looking to get more subscribers. The more the merrier, so to speak. All right, so don't forget that we do this on the every second Saturday of each month. Okay, so this is coming up soon, and basically we cover a specific educational topic every week, and then we do it right here on YouTube, so it's free, and then you can look up the recordings. So you may want to do that to see what some of the other ones previously were. And I'm almost done here. We have our price action home study course. We've gotten a lot of good response and reviews from this. Thank you so much. Glad you guys are liking it. It will definitely boost your performance because you can use it with the art software or any strategy for that matter. It'll only help you out. Okay. All right. So what I want to do before we get started here, I just want to go over Bitcoin really quick. Now, this is, again, something I do in the MOR report, but I just want to share it with you really quick. All right, our target for Bitcoin is between 77,000 and 6,300. And as I speak, we're at 68. So we are in our target right here, okay? I call this a buy zone. Right in there, okay? So there we have it. I still think we're going to go down a little bit further, okay? So keep that in mind. We could go down even a little bit lower than this low area here, but I want you to be aware of what's going on. If you're a long-term person with Bitcoin, this is not a bad place to trickle in to it, okay? We do think, based on the weekly chart on the right, that we're in a 3, 4, and after that, we'll have a 5, okay? So eventually, we should take out the highs of that 3. No guarantees, but that's what we are counting on in terms of buying here. All right, so only buy with money you can afford to risk in case we're wrong. But for right now, we look at this as an excellent opportunity for a buying opportunity here trickling in, okay? For you more advanced traders, you can use a little bit more detailed analysis. But for the rest of us, I think that's probably pretty good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. And I'm going to share 2 more things with you. Silver, okay? Silver, to us, looks like it has more highs. So a couple indicators we use is the PTF, all right, which is this indicator here. This has a 75% probability. It's not 100%, but it is pretty high for markets. Anything over 60 and you're doing pretty well. So in a case like this, this is showing eventual more highs. The way this indicator works is you take the highest price in the green area, and that's where the 75% probability comes in that the markets should return and take out the high. What it doesn't tell you is when the correction's over. It won't tell you how deep the correction is going to be. For that, we use fib retracements, Elliott wave, and things of that nature. So it looks to me like we're on a 3 here, 4 here, and we're probably going to go up to a 5 on silver. Same thing with gold, by the way. Okay. So it looks to me like we're going to have a 5 here, and we're still in an unfolding 3 on the weekly. And the owl helps us identify that as well. So kind of like Bitcoin, this is getting to be into a buy zone. We haven't had really a turnaround yet. But if you're long-term silver, may want to start trickling into this. Okay, so keep that in mind. And the next one is gold. Okay, so let me bring up gold. Same type of thing with gold. Okay, and you can see we've had the sell-off in gold as well. So I think both the metals, if for a long-term situation, are not a bad place to trickle in. So those are my 3 things that I wanted to share with you this morning. Bitcoin, all right, silver and gold, not a bad place to start trickling in. Now, with that said, there's no guarantees. So check with your financial advisor and only invest with money you can afford to risk, okay? Called risk capital in those. All right, I'm done with my commercials here. So let's go ahead and dump in and see what you guys got cooking for me today. All right, let me just scroll through. Yeah, good morning to everybody. Thank you so much. All right, let's see here. Give me 1 second. All right, so I think I covered BTC, gold, and silver. Boy, I already hit those 3, right? So we're pretty good there. All right, and Ed, we'll start out with you. I think you're the next one. Did I miss anybody? Stuart, actually, Al, I missed you, didn't I? All right, ZM. Let's go ZM. Let's take a look at that. And he's interested in a possible long position. All right. So, by the way, on these charts, you'll see a lot of this green area and red area. These are fair value gaps, okay? And the indicator is free on NinjaTrader. So you can just grab it. They have a free one there. And that's what I'm using here. All right. Okay. So I think probably we got a yellow PTF on the weekly chart. And we got up and took this high out here. Let me just see what we're dealing with here. Okay. We've got more liquidity up here and here and here. We still got a green owl. And we still got some green fair value gaps on the daily chart here. So I'm thinking, yeah, not a bad long position. You know, I always, whenever I look at the longer term charts and I see equity's been taking and I see some big wicks, that always makes me pause before taking a long position, because that's a run on equity, and usually they'll bring it down, take out equity down here before running it up. So that's the only problem I see with this, but you have a very strong fair value gap here, a little bit of rejection there. You could go down a little bit further. So this one, and look at a little bit of messiness here. I think we could probably find some better ones for this one, Al. So I think probably I'm going to say no on this one, but I get why you're looking at it. But those wicks on the weekly chart, even though they could be surpassed, bother me a little bit. All right, so I'm going to say no on that one. All right, let me go through and get the next batch here. Now I think, Ed, we're with you. Okay, APP. And let's see about this one, potential longs. Okay, so this one has sold off too, okay? And again, we got a red PTF still on the daily chart. We just have a brand new red owl on the weekly. We still have a green PTF on the weekly. I just don't think the correction is quite done yet. So very simply speaking, we got to get above some of these red, at least one of them, okay? This one here. We have to have a change in structure, and we don't have that yet. So technically, you could still draw a trend line down like that. But more importantly, what we want to see is a move above here or some type of internal structure here. And we don't have any of that yet. So no go on that one, okay? Let's take a look at CLS. Plus, you got pyramids still pointing down. All right, so CLS, green PTFs on both. We've got a little bit of messiness going on here. We've got a bit of a range going on. And you can certainly see that right here especially. So if you draw these two lines out here like this, you can see that range very visible on the weekly. And you don't want to take any pyramids inside a range, okay? Not a good idea. And you can see the range here very clearly as well. I'll just quickly draw that here like that. So no trades in here, okay? We need to have a breakout first. So I would stay away from this one as well for right now, okay? And if anything, we're butting up against a bearish fair value gap, so we may get a push down a little bit. All right, so we'll take a look at this again, but not for right now. LUNR. All right, so this one, nice push down, nice wick, nice rejection of that fair value gap, and this area here, we've got it here. Now, all right, so we have a move down, an ABC. I like the rejection, but what don't we really have yet? All right, I'd like to see an internal change of structure. So I'd like to see a break above here with a fair value gap in here or in here, okay, before going long. I like this, but you know what? It did not hit, and it still could hit consequence encroachment, okay? So that's an area here. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down to that 50% dotted line as well. So this is not out of the woods yet. There are some things it's got going for it. ABC correction there. We have about a 50% correction on the overall retracement on the weekly chart. Okay, we see that there and rejection there. So that's a good sign. So I would say we're probably getting ready for a long here, but I want to see that kind of pattern first. I'd like to see a fair value gap over here, a bullish one. And maybe one will form in here, and then we'll have an inversion and off to the races we go, okay? So this one's setting up. I want you to bring this back next week. I'm going to put this one down as a possibility, but not a trade yet, okay? Thank you. All right, and boy, back again, okay. SERV. All right, these look like the ones you might have mentioned to Gene, I think. All right, so let's see what we got cooking here. Same type of thing, exactly. And we've got a range going on the weekly. We got some long rejection wicks up here. It's just messy, you know. And this is so typical of the markets these days. They're messy. So what we want to do is wait for this daily chart. Now, green PTFs, okay, that's great. Let's wait for some internal structure change on this. Okay, we still got technically a downtrend in place.
Bullish reversal bar entry now.
All right, REMX, that's my other trading computer going that you hear in the background there. All right, so let's see what we got going here. All right, this is REMX, green PTFs. Nice rejection off here. I'm liking that. And same type of thing here. All right. Again, this looks good. We may have a pullback bottom here, but we don't have a change in structure, internal structure on the daily yet. So no go on that. Okay. And that's what the pyramids do. You know, they look for that type of pattern where you have a change in structure. All right. RGTI. Okay, so this one's come down. Boy, I like this. I love the weekly chart. See, when it goes to the bottom of a order block down here and rejects, that's really good. Okay, so there are no more fair value gaps to go. So it's done what it needed to do. It got down there and rejected. All right, this is still red. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. All right, so I would need this to go away or change, and we need to have a change in structure here as well. Okay, you know, it's one thing to have rejection, but you have to have a change in structure. Okay. All right. So no go on any of those right now. Okay. Kumar, how are you? All right. So SNDK. All right. So pretty strong uptrend intact, huge wicks up here. All right. But very green PTFs and green structure here. All right. So on this one, it's a little different than the others because this is currently still in an uptrend. It hasn't broken structure to indicate it's in a downtrend. So this we can be more aggressive with, right? All right, so I've liked this. This is called a market maker's buy model here. Okay, I'm liking this. So we came down, consequence encroachment, bounced off, but look, we have another one here as well. So whenever I have one down and one up, all right, I wait for this to get a body to close above here, okay? And with wicks like this, I want to be careful not to get caught in a long position without being patient for that to happen. So while other more highs are likely on this, what we want to make sure is that we don't have a little bit more of a correction before, because you have some fair value gaps down here that we could correct to. All right. So that's how I would do that. I would wait. We can bring this one back next week. Okay. All right. CENX. Wow. Look at this. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Much clearer over here. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's see what we got cooking. All right. So we've got a fairly good mature trend on the weekly chart. And we had a pullback here. All right. And we've come up close to here. No longer a green PTF there. We had good rejection here. So the next question is, where's the target for that? So I don't have any previous highs for equity sweeps to shoot for. And it's a fairly mature trend. We got 1, 2, 3 pyramids on the weekly, and we have more than 4 here on the daily. So I'm a little concerned about getting in a little late on this one. All right. So for me, I would avoid this one. Let's take a look at MU. But the fact that it remains strong when the market has been unstable says a lot as well. All right. Same thing with this one. All right. We have a bearish fair value gap here. And all these don't have that much. That's interesting. Okay, so I only it's MU too. All right, so did not get down here. Green PTFs. This is a very strong uptrend still in place, and you can tell that by the owl. Right, that's where the owl comes in. So there's no pullback yet. So this is going higher. The question is on this daily chart, is this pullback over? And I want it to close above this bearish fair value gap. All right. And notice we have a bullish one that it closed below. So if we can get that closed above, then that's an immediate long. So it has to close above, not just wick above. So that is one I would not take unless it wicked above. And I'd take a partial here and then let it run. Okay. So no, I'm not going to recommend that for right now, not until we get above that. And then Tesla. All right, so Tesla here, I had a client that I just told him to get out of this a while back when it swept the equity here. And you had an equity sweep here, all right, and then an immediate pullback. You have equity sitting here that they did not take, okay? So that's kind of interesting, all right? It's sitting here, and consequent encroachment looks like it was hit here and a bounce off there. So that's actually bullish here, all right, on the weekly. And I think what I'd want to do here, okay, we're starting to reach over that. But again, what do I want to see? We got to, if you can draw a trend line. If you can draw a trend line one direction or other, in this case it's down, then you have to have a change in structure, okay, before you can go long again. All right. You technically on this have a little bit of internal change in structure here at the pyramid down. But if this holds, you're technically still in an uptrend, right? And I'm skeptical about whether that will hold because you're technically still in a downtrend. So that's a no-go. Okay. Hopefully this is helping you. All right. Zen Trader. SQQQ, okay, the triple inverse Qs. All right, so let's take a look at those. All right, so these act opposite of the market. And let's see what we got cooking here. All right, so green PTF is kind of interesting, right? That was one that bounced up there. So we've kind of got no active bearish pyramids anymore on there. You have one still kind of slightly active here. You've got bullish divergence building in the owl on the weekly. And you've got that also on the daily. And you're trading down to a bullish fair value gap here. You have kind of a change in structure by breaking this here. So I'm liking that. So not so bad. Now, you don't have a change in structure at all on the weekly chart. You do have it here. But the main change in structure, of course, would be above here. All right. If you get rejection off here, I'd go long. You don't have it yet. Okay. Because this we have to have a bullish bar above here. You've come down to this consequence encroachment. You could come down even further, okay? But let's see, you have a block here. So that's a good sign. This is actually fairly bullish, but we have to have a rejection off this fair value gap, and we don't have one right now. Okay, so I can't recommend it until we have that. But if this goes, then your first target would be here, and then I'd put it way up here. But you'd have to have a market crash for that. Okay, which could be coming. SP XS. Similar, okay. However, this bullish fair value gap did not hold, okay. So you swept this equity here, and you technically still have an active pyramid here to the downside, so you don't have a change in trend yet, okay. This is actually interesting because this is your first change in structure here. So if you get a move back up, then we can take a look at it again. But right now, that's a bearish price bar. So no go on anything on that. And then SOXS. Now, the inverse ETFs, by the way, are an excellent way to hedge your portfolio during a market crash, or you can make quite a bit of money. But you can also lose money on it as well. Okay, so you've got to be pretty precise with it because a lot of these are triples. Okay, so On this, the same thing. Notice we're closing below that fair value gap and did not have rejection off that. Okay. So trends are still technically down. Could you make another low on this? Sure. Could have another market top before we eventually go into some type of bear market. All right. So no go yet on those. Okay. All right, Ed, thank you for the comment. He's referring to the second edition of the Art of Trading. Okay. Let's keep going here. And BSV, I'll call you BSV. Okay. All right. Oh, whoa. Okay. Canada, Ontario, Canada. Good to have you here. All right. NVTS. Let's take a look. All right. Sue, first thing we want to do is see. Let me just see. Well, let's see. So we got a situation there. All right. So on this weekly chart, we have a bearish fair value gap. That's this red. Okay. We had this. Okay. That's good. Now here's an example of how you can use the art software with price action. All right. Here is a entry. So you've had this, but it's directly into a bearish fair value gap. So I don't think I would take that. All right. I think I'd wait until prices get above here and then take it. All right. So that's an example of how you could use them together. Now, this is a good sign. All right. We're getting rejection off this fair value gap in here. Okay. So that's a good sign. And this is a bullish one that got broken and then replaced by a bearish one. So that could be an inverse one, and we could still head down from here. Okay, so you got to be careful here. On the daily chart, we went all the way down to the bottom of the order block, way at the bottom, and had a bounce off there. And we went through this fair value gap. Okay, I'm liking that. I'd probably like to see a little change in structure here on the lower time frame before thinking about a long trade, right? Maybe getting above here. So I think on this one here, probably it would be better to wait it out a little bit, be patient, and let's see if we get a spring with some follow through here to the upside. All right. So that's the only thing with that. Okay. All right. So I'm not going to recommend that one right now. All right. RFIL, right? RFIL. Yep. Okay. This is your next one. Okay. Let's see what we got here. All right. So this one, we got a beautiful, beautiful, huge fair value gap after retracing. I'm liking that. And we broke structure. Good. All right. So now we've got green PTFs on both. We came down to the bottom of this fair value gap and got rejection, got a spring off there. All right. So this would be, you know, if you were scalping, this would be an immediate trade with you could take profits right at the top of that swing high here. All right. And your probability would be pretty good that you would hit that. So in a case like this one here, all right, and you know, the PTFs are only saying it's going up to, you know, 1229. That's the only thing the PTFs are saying. But you're getting a nice spring off this. So if you wanted to go for a quick point and then trail your stops up, you could do that. All right. If you go long here, all right, do you want to put a stop under here? That's one place you could put it, or you could put it on the first bar of the 1, 2, 3 pattern. Okay. So I think this is bullish. Out of all the ones we've looked at this morning, I think this one will be bullish in the upcoming week. All right. So maybe we'll put that one down as a yes for a quick scalp. Okay. And maybe higher. Okay. It could go a lot higher. But from what I can tell here, not so much history. Okay. All right. So MVST. All right, let's see what we got on MBST. So move down, green PTFs. Okay, so we came down, took this bottom out here. So far that wick's held. Let's just see what the consequence encroachment is on this wick here. So we went right down to the consequence encroachment of the wick. Wicks, large wicks like this can act also as similar to fair value gaps. Okay. All right, so we got that, and we got to close above the first bearish fair value gap. We took out, swept equity down here, respected here, order block here. Okay, so I'm liking that. What are we lacking based on what we know? What are we lacking? On the daily chart, a change in structure, right? Okay, so we want to get up here, here, and here. We have to have a little bit more of a change in structure area here. I'd like to see it get above this price bar right here for change in structure. And then you can aim for way up here. Okay, so let's put this one. I'm actually liking this one, but not for an entry right now. So let's put that one on the watch list. All right, and then PATH. PATH is our next one. Hopefully I'm not boring you to death here. Hopefully this is okay analysis. All right, on this one here, we took out equity here. This was sell side liquidity. All right, liking that. Nice rejection. Bullish here. And we've got some headwinds here and here. So technically, at this point, if you drew a trend line here, you know, we're still below that. So we don't have really a change in structure yet, okay? So from that point of view, what I would like to see is a fair value gap forming in here, a pull back to the fair value gap, and a surge forward, okay? That's kind of what I'd like to do, all right? And we don't have that here. So we can bring that one back next week as well. All right. Stuart, how are you? All right, PSX. And I'm not sure if you're long or short, not short, but I'm not sure if you're long or considering a long. But if you're long, you can certainly hold it. All right, it looks to me like we're going to take this top out here. And green PTFs on both, respect to the fair value gaps. You got a pyramid here. And yeah, you're good to go here. Okay, good to go. All right, so this is kind of what you want to look for. Let's just see what happened here. Okay, came right down to the order block. Did not sweep the equity. This is where it kind of gets a little tough. Sometimes if you have an order block here and it doesn't sweep it, you have to wait for it to change trend, and it did that. So it gave us our first pyramid entry perfectly right here, okay? Stop here, stop can be under here. Targeting here for your first partial, and then you can do your fib extensions after that. So this is a good one, all right, if you're in it. Now, if you're not in it, here's the problem. Where are you going to put your stop? You're forced, all right, at the very least to have it here, okay, and here, or pyramid, okay? So the stop's kind of far away, but we should take out this high. So just lower your trade size, and you can do that one. So I'm going to put this one down as a buy. All right. Just make sure you can use an option, I'm sure, on it. So, you know, when you have a stock with a hard stop that's far away, then you can use an option for that. All right. Your next one is OXY. Okay, let's see how this one's doing. Nice pullback right into this area here. Market maker buy model area right there. And that held. We had a move above here, close above here, move back down. I don't see any. Let's see if there's any fair value gaps here. No. Isn't that interesting? You had one here, but notice we don't have any on this current leg on the weekly. Okay. So that's kind of interesting. Usually we see that type of thing in a correction. All right. But you did have it here. Beautiful one here. So let's see here. Took out equity here, here, and then a move up here. Okay. So they may be targeting here. Okay. You also have a bearish fair value gap here. That's the system did not highlight. All right. So that's kind of interesting there. I don't like the red PTF. That indicates more lows there. So what's that low there? That's 34. So that's way down here. So interesting. So on this one here, let's see if we get above this high and take a look at it again next week. Okay. Let's see if we can break that high. If we can break that high, then I think the downtrend's over. Okay. But until then, I'm just a little nervous with the red PTF to go long there. Okay. All right. KHC. Okay. So let's see what we got cooking here. All right, nice long wick there. We have a breakout here. We do not yet have a fair value gap on the weekly. We had one right after the break here. We got above the bearish. That's good. All right, we broke structure here. That's good. All right. So here and here. So in this case here, you could go long and put your stop under here, right here, or use the pyramid, okay? So that is a possibility. Now, what do we got going against us here? Well, we don't have a change in structure and still a bearish pyramid on the weekly chart, all right? So that is a major point. This is what I love about the pyramids. I mean, they just are amazing because they always give you the right direction. And yet at the same time, when the base legs are hit, those are also usually at critical areas. So that would be a change in structure. So I think probably because what we'll probably have here, Stuart, I think we'll have a move up continuation. And then if we hit this structure here, we'll probably have a fair value gap here, pull back here, and this could be your buy-in here, okay? So you may want to be a little more patient. If you wanted to enter in here and put your stop below the pyramid, all right, you could do that. That's 22.93. So that would be below here. You'd probably be okay unless it goes down and to consequence encroachment on the wick. Okay, that would be the only thing that would stop you out. Of course, you can put it at the very bottom too. So I don't think I'm going to recommend this one yet. We don't really have an established uptrend on the weekly chart yet, but you are breaking structure and it's looking pretty good on the daily. All right, Zen Trader. Okay, let's see. Does TradeStation have fair value gap indicator? You know, I don't know. If anybody uses TradeStation, let me know. All right, let's see. Stuart, PSX. Okay, nice breakout here. All right, fair value gap held here. Fair value gap held here. So your first target is going to be here at the top. And that is at 174 and we're at 158. Pyramid's got a nice stop area here. But that risk to reward may not do it for you. So you could go under here. And let's see what we got here. Yeah. Okay. So this may be one you could do an option on. Okay. So I'm liking that. So, I mean, I could put this one down. I mean, we looked at this one already. Okay. And I think we said the same thing with that. I think we looked at this earlier and we put this on the buy list, but you got to be willing to put your stop pretty low. Okay. Okay. So we have our PTF on the daily. Exactly. I'm saying it's a good opportunity for long-term people to trickle in at these because it's in the target range. But, you know, if I was trading it, I would wait for lower lows. Okay. It's kind of like what Buffett does. You know, a lot of times when I look at Buffett during his buying phases, he'll buy even though the my PTF is red. But what it means is that, you know, because the weekly chart does not have a red PTF. So it just means you're going to have some short-term, more short-term lows likely. So it depends. If you have a long-term investment outlook and you want to start trickling in some of your money, you could do that now in case that the PTF is wrong. And the PTF is wrong 25% of the time, so not very much. Or if you want to wait for that PTF to turn yellow and then dump it all in, you could do that, okay? All I'm saying is I think 6 months from now, you'll be happy even if you buy at these levels, okay? Because we're in the buy zone, which is the wave 5 target on the C wave down on the weekly chart, okay? Hopefully that clears up. But yeah, you're right, technically. All right. So 4-hour time frame. I could do no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it to the weekly and daily outlooks for right now. All right. Lowell, how are you? KR. Let's see what we got. A 4-hour time frame is a very good thing to be looking at, especially if you're short-term trading it. This is more long-term. Okay, so on the daily here, let's see what we got here. Lowell, I lost you. Hold on one second. There you are. Okay. All right. Sue watching. Okay. All right. We had good rejection off the fair value gap. Look at that. Okay. Not bad, right? And then we had some new fair value gaps put here and here, and we got above here. So that's a really good sign. Okay. I'm liking that a lot. Let's just do a couple little verifications here on this. So quickly, I'm just going to run up a, so we got a nice retracement there. Okay. And we'll run that up there. So I'm thinking what you should do is, I think this is a good one. Let's put this one down as a long. Okay. KR. This is outstanding. Okay. This is one of the best ones. All right. So I'm liking everything I'm seeing here. We had change in structure there. We had a nice respecting this fair value gap with the order block holding. So, and it went down enough to qualify for a retracement. So it's okay. All right. So that looks pretty good. So, Lowell, good job on that one. That's a plus. ORA. Let's take a look at this one. All right, this one's a little too far advanced, okay? I think you're chasing the market here. Yeah, you could get another high, but you got bearish divergence on the daily, okay? Pretty strong over here. What I'd rather do is wait for a more dramatic sell-off, maybe down to in here. You had respecting here, so you could get one more lift up here, but it's just too far gone. I don't want to chase it. I don't like chasing stuff. Okay. GLDD. Also, too, I have end-of-day data here. Okay. So that's another reason why I can't look up that 4-hour for you. All right. So let's see what we got here. All right. So don't like this one as much as I liked KR. Okay. We just took out buy-side equity. See all the 3 points of buy-side equity. So I'm kind of thinking no go on this one. All right. All right. ConAgra, CAG. Boy, a big move down on ConAgra, right? Holy camole. All right. So let's see what we got here. Kind of liking that. All right. So we've got a nice, what ICT calls a turtle soup. Anybody follows ICT? Turtle soup there. And a move off the bottom. And we kind of getting a change in structure. We definitely got a change in structure there. And we've got a nice move off here. Yeah, I'm liking it. Okay. Couple things. We may come down another half a point or so into this fair value gap. So you want to put your stop below the first bar of this fair value gap. And you even got another little one here. All right. So you probably should put it down here. So that's your risk. Now you could put it here. All right. And if you get stopped out and you see a reversal, you can always go back in. But if you don't want to do that, then you need to put it down in here. Okay. All right. So give it about 2 points if that's the case. But yeah, this looks pretty good. All right. Now let's try to figure out where it's going. All right. So it took out equity here. That's kind of why you're getting your pullback. All right. But that's okay. All right. So you'll come down here, maybe in this area here. And let's just do, out of curiosity here, let's just do a quick 50%. All right. So yeah, I think you could get maybe 5 points out of it, maybe. If that's worth it to you, you can certainly do that. All right. Is it going to make a new all-time high? That I don't know. Okay. And we are getting a little bit of a wick here on the weekly chart. So, and we have a bearish price bar today forming. Okay. So probably what I would do, I'm not going to put this on the buy list, but what I would do is let's see if we can get a rebound from up here. Okay. Because you got a bearish price bar, you could be going down further into the fair value gap. So I think I'd hold off on that one. All right, let's take a look at BLDP. All right, BLDP. Let's see what we got there. All right, gnawed into the weekly fair value gap really a lot, But so far it's respecting it. I mean, it's closed above it. And we got a red PTF and a downtrend in place. So that's kind of interesting. All right, let's see on the weekly chart what happened here. All right, so it looks to me it swept equity here. All right, and sold off. We're getting close to a point where you have an order block here. So it may go down a little further, okay? Bring this one back next week, okay? This may be okay for next week, but let's take a look at it then. All right. Hi, Constance. All right. The Dow, DOW. All right. So we moved down on DOW. All right. And then we have moved up and we have had a change in structure. You can see that on the weekly chart by breaking out above this area here. Okay. Green here. No red, no more red in the PTF. So this is gone. It's neutral. That's okay. You can go long or short on the yellow. We do have green here and an increasing. We do not bearish divergence. So that's pretty good. So I am anticipating more highs on this. Now, let's see what we have here. There's your first market maker buy model right there. Bingo. Okay, so that is that. You have the pyramids right there at that. So let's see what we got here. Broke structure there, a little bit of a pullback, probably another leg up from here. Okay, so I think we're going higher. I think this could be something that moves quite a bit higher, but I also think you're due for a pullback into these areas here, okay? You had a little bit of a pullback here, but you could go a little deeper. That's a bullish price bar for the most part right now. If we get a longer wick on here and it closes down here, then it's not. We took out buy side liquidity here and here. Now, think about this from somebody that's short on the weekly chart. Where are they going to put their stops? Well, they're probably either going to put them here or here, right? So those get run. Now the market's free to continue up or to continue down. So anytime you take out buy side liquidity, you've got to be sure that the trend is in place for an upside and not for a turnaround. All right, so that's the only thing here. We've got a lot here. We'd have to go below this area here for you to have a downtrend. Resumption fear. Okay. For right now, you got a lot of fair value gaps that are going to hold here. So I'm thinking more highs. And then the next question is, if we get more highs here, where are we going next? And so the next part could be here and here. This is other liquidity areas here, but let's run this by here. So you're probably going to get up into this order block area here. Okay, so 37 off that. Okay, so yeah, I'll put this one down as a buy. My only problem is that you have to have your stop here. So it's only like a 1-to-1 risk to reward if that's all we're going to get out of it. Okay. And this is a 3, so we may go up here and then take another dive down. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I could see that. I'm not going to recommend it, but possible. All right, LYB. So when I say possible, it's not an A+ setup for a longer term trade. For scalping, yeah. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so we've got a bullish change in structure here, almost a green owl. All right. So this is showing 3. So because it's a 3, we'll assume it's a retracement. So the target is at the 50% mark, roughly. Okay. So we may go into this fair value gap, a bearish one, a little bit more. We had nice pyramid here. All right. And now we have a bullish fair value gap so far that's holding. And at the very least, your target should be up here at 67. So yeah, I'm going to put this one down as a buy. Okay. LYB. Your stop's got to go below here for right now. So that's 46.87 roughly. Okay. So that's okay. All right. All right. Holding LPX holding ST at a small loss. Okay. ST. Let's see. Stop at a small loss or symbol ST. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but red PTF, no longer a green PTF. And this is kind of not the greatest, okay? Short term. Oh, okay, short term. Okay, fine. Good, because I don't like ST, stock ST. All right. Hey, my pleasure, my pleasure. All right. If you give me, I don't offhand know what the ETF for Ethereum is, so why don't you look it up for me and tell me what it is, okay? And then I'll look it up. All right. Okay, let's see what else we got. Did I miss anybody? Going once, going twice. If anybody knows what the ETF for Ethereum is, let me know. Okay, good. Thanks, Stuart. All right, ETHE. Good job. Okay. All right, so red PTF, all right, still coming down. Cryptos are getting cryptoed, all right, and you got to wait for this thing to turn, okay? So red PTF on this one. So I'd say no go on it yet. Just hasn't turned around yet. It's a little different than Bitcoin because it's not really in a buy zone right now for me. Okay. All right. So that's kind of that one. All right. Let's see. Thank you, Stuart, for that. All right. LPX. Sorry. LPX. I missed that one. Okay. LPX. All right. Nice rejection on the weekly. Let's just run this by real quick. Nice 50%. Okay, so did the fib thing, did that. We have a red PTF. All right, we did have a change in structure. Well, I'd like to have no red. If I didn't have the red PTF, I'd say yes. So one or two things are going to happen. Either the PTF is going to be right or wrong. And if it's wrong, it will abruptly turn green. Okay, so that's the thing with that. It did respect on the weekly chart. It did respect the fair value gap. All right, so in the order block. So that's a big deal. And it closed above the bearish fair value gap in the weekly. So that's a big plus. So it's got everything going for it. So here's, I think, the way I would play this. All right, so I think at this particular point, we got some fair value gaps here and here. Notice that this is almost like an inversion fair value gap here. I don't think prices are going to come down here again. All right, so I think the PTF is going to be wrong. All right, however, all right, it is red. So right away, if you're going to take a trade and it really is bullish on everything but the PTF and you want to take it, lower your trade size. Okay. Also, too, you can wait for a pyramid too. We don't have one of those yet. So I'm thinking that if we come down here or go higher, this will turn green, or it'll come down here and eventually turn green. Then that will give us the green light, so to speak. But I love the reaction on the weekly chart. And I love actually the reaction, except for the PTF, on the daily chart. So everything's a go. And you even got a pyramid on the weekly chart. Everything's a go except for the fact of that red PTF. Okay, so what do? You could go long and lower your trade size, okay, until the PTF turns green. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Notice we didn't get any rejection off of here, really. We got more highs, so it's probably going at least up to here. You know, the strange thing about the PTF is that we may go ahead and take out this high, and then it dives down. The PTF ends up being right, but you still could have made a profit on the next swing up. So that's the thing. All right, so I guess because it's a red PTF, I'm not going to recommend it. Okay, but there's a case for it. All right, NET. NET. Okay, so let's see what we got here for a short. Okay, so let's see. All right, a couple things. One thing is that when you have a bar like this that comes out of the blue, goes up into a bearish fair value gap, and gets rejected, and then comes back down like that. That's bearish, okay? So that is a good sign. Plus you have a bearish situation here. The question is, though, all right, is where is it going? So we've got some fair value gaps in an order block here that it went down to, and it certainly could go into this area here. So the first thing you got to ask yourself is where do you think it's going? Okay, that's the first question, because it's already retraced 50%. So if it's going to turn back up, this could be an area where it does it. Okay, so you're not getting in on the beginning necessarily of a good short. And if you think it's going down here and you draw this here like this, this is, I'm going to call this premium, but actually for a short trade, I'll call it discount. This is your discount area. This is your premium area. As a general rule, for a short trade, you don't want to enter it in the premium area. So I would say no on this, okay? Okay, Uber. Similar situation here too. All right, but this could be a little bit different. And here's why I say this, okay? 3, 4, 5. Bearish divergence, 3, 4, 5 on the owl, okay? So if we draw the premium and the discount, it's going to be really from here to here. So now you're in an area where you could go short. Cover down here. Your stop would have to go at least here, if not to the pyramid. And you'd want to target down here. Okay, so stop here. And I would probably take a partial here. Okay. Or you could take it here, but I would take it here. I'm just more conservative that way. So a partial there, maybe even a partial here. Okay. And you could do even here in increments. So I think this would be okay for a short. That's Uber. Okay. I think we'll wrap it up there. Great session. Wow. That was a lot of stocks we looked up. Huge. Whew. All right. So let me go over the winners and the ones we're going to put on to the watch list. So I'm going to turn the cam on. So watch your eyes here. All right. So here we go. All right. On the ones that we like for this week, we got RFIL, PSX, KR, LYB, and Uber for a short, UBER. The watch list is LUNR and MVST. Okay, so there we have it. So interesting. All right, so a lot of, actually, I'm amazed we found 5. Well, we found 4 and 1 short. But amazingly, we found 4 longs in a market that we're in right now, which is kind of tough. Okay, so very interesting. All right, so we'll be back here next Friday. Okay, thanks for tuning in. You guys and gals out there are just awesome. We appreciate you showing up. Give us a like, helps the channel, of course. I'll put a little music on and we'll close the room and we'll see you back here next week. Have a great week, everybody, okay?